Let's go to the Toms River Volkswagen Sports Hotline and welcome in our good friend, former Phillies pitcher, Tommy Greene. Good morning, Tommy Greene.
Good morning, Billy. How y'all guys doing?
I've been struggling with this cold, Tommy, but I'm here, man. I'm at work. You know what I mean? Tommy, talk about guys that are in slumps or pitchers that haven't really been pitching well, and then all of a sudden they start to contribute. How good does that feel?
Well, I tell you, man. I mean, you're a part of a unit and a team. You want to feel like you're pulling your own weight, you know, and adding to the team win. And when you start, getting a timely hit or making a great defensive play, I mean, there's nothing else, and be a difference in the outcome in the game. That's what keeps you going. That's why you play, man. I mean, to have those type of moments.
Tommy, when you're on the team, right? And everybody knows, like, even though the Phillies are like playing really well, great pitching, great hitting, great bullpen play, but when some guys are struggling, guys notice it, right? They notice, but they're not as apt to be, like, it's not a glaring problem when you're winning, obviously. But the players know it, though, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they know when somebody's scuffling, and guys try to pick each other up and little ways, because you don't want it to be where you got the guy going bad and all of a sudden he kind of gets within himself, and goes to himself and relentless in being the same person. You got to be the same person, when you're in the clubhouse, and when you can't let that your play affect you like that, where it changes you just because you're not doing well. Because this game's got a great way of humbling you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're a fair weather player, and you change like that, that's a no. You got to learn how to overcome that. And I think, with the type of a good clubhouse too, your teammates and your guys help you come through your slumps and your play better. They're pulling for you to do better. So I mean, it keeps you on that even keel a little bit, which is huge.
Top of the morning to you, Tommy. I know you're watching the game across the pond right now. And yesterday, Bryce Harper, obviously, showing up in the biggest moments, going 3 for 4, double, or home run. And I mean, just what is it like? I mean, seeing a guy like that, who's just what
does his leadership mean to his team? I mean, Bryce Harper is like there's not a moment that's too big for him, right?
Exactly.
Andrew?
Exactly. What is it like having a guy like that who, no matter the stage, just is ready to step up and has no nerves?
Well, I mean, he's sort of been bred that way since he was like 12. He's been on the big stage since he was a young kid. And out there, and especially when he signed, he's always been there, and he's always had that knack of producing in big situations and stuff like that. So it's sort of, he doesn't let the situation overwhelm him. He's learned that, it's a learned trait. You see guys come in the postseason, I mean, I don't care what they say. You go out there and in your first postseason, they might make it look easy because their demeanor's good, but they're inside, they're racing, and it's all about trying to calm yourself down and get under control so you don't make those mistakes and get too jumpy, or pitching, you rush and you don't command the ball like you should. I was guilty of that. It's a big situation. Then you get another chance at it. Hey, you kind of learn how to deal with that situation, getting into the postseason and stuff like this. It was a huge thing because you've never been there. It's just a different type of thing. So, which is, you try to keep it as simple as you can, but, it's a learned trait. And then I think Bryce has done that, and he's had a good effect on the guys around it, as far as that's concerned. To see him have a day like he did yesterday in that situation, because it's a huge centerpiece because they're across the pond playing, and all eyes are on, on them. And I mean, and a good thing, he had the 3 for 4 day, but you look at through the lineup, everybody had a hit in that lineup yesterday. So, which is huge.
Tommy, I want to ask you about the Philadelphia Phillies fans. You played for a few teams during your career, but I do want to ask you, and I want you to be straight up honest with me. Are the Phillies fans the best fans you ever played in front of? Because, I mean, you see them in London right now. Obviously, Mets fans, they don't want to go over to London to see a poor product on the field. Their team is not good, to say the least. And it's a sea of red over there right now. I mean, are the Phillies fans, in your mind, the best fans you've ever played in front of?
Oh, yeah, no question. No question. I mean, I played Atlanta when, there was 2,500 people in the stands. I probably knew everybody by first name, And then, I played in Houston a little bit, which was sort of just the same way back in the day, but they were making a run that year in the playoffs. They were getting better. And, but by far, Philadelphia has been you go to visiting teams and stuff like that and fan bases and stuff, you see the type of fans that are, the Mets have good fans. They got good home fans for them because they get on the other team and ride them, and and it's all good. But they appreciate good baseball too,
right.
And Philadelphia is the same way. They expect and they're knowledgeable, but they travel so much better than the rest of them, and that's
right.
been not just for Philly fans, that's for Eagles and everything.
Yeah.
So but their knowledge. I mean, I never grew up around major league sports. From being in North Carolina, we were college basketball, huge.
Right.
ACC basketball, which was a big thing. But I had favorite teams, favorite guys, so to speak. I didn't necessarily have a favorite team. More favorite guys I get to see play on Sunday game of the week. So I was, never really got the gist of, the fans, that side of it, other than and big sports. And then when I played up there, it was, it was eye-opening. That's why I love them. That's why I love it. They hold you accountable. They expect good play. They expect hustle, and they're going to let you know when you're not playing well, and they're going to be right there for you when you are playing well. If you're doing what you're supposed to, if you're hustling, giving them the effort, and they feel like you are.
And it seems like the Phillies are playing for the fans right now. I mean, they're playing for each other, obviously. They're playing for the fans, but they're also playing for one man in general, and that's Rob Thompson. Yeah. Rob Thompson, he picked up his 200th career regular season win as the Phillies manager yesterday, becoming the second fastest Phillies manager to reach that feat, first since Pat Morin in the 1910s, who did it in just 4 fewer games. And obviously, in the past few seasons, he's gotten some, criticism, and people haven't really loved his decisions, specifically going back to Craig Kimbrell in the NLCS last season. But, this year, I believe at least, he has quieted those doubters and those haters. What do you think about Rob Thompson and just the job he's done with this squad ever since taking over for Joe Girardi, and do you think he's finally silenced those doubters?
Well, there's armchair coaches everywhere, man. Everybody's got an opinion, which is fine. And they want to be heard and seen and that type of stuff. But bottom line, he's a guy that's easy to get along with. He's approachable. I'm not in the clubhouse, so it's hard for me to say. But he seems like his door is always open for his guys. The conversation I have had with him when I've been around him, he's such an easy person to get to approach and talk to. And then to me, Jim Fregosi was like that too. Yeah. He made you feel welcomed, in that clubhouse, and if there's something I don't know how it's run in that clubhouse, who's the main guy, who's the head guy. Mm-hmm. I know Reese Hoskins, when he was there, had a lot of input in what was going on in that clubhouse. Now it's a little bit different. You got Harper and Schwarber, and I think and JT, those three guys to me are the guys, that seem might be the more,
That's the old Macho Row.
You hear their voice. You can be a superstar and not be the head guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I even think Castellanos has some.
Doxter wasn't our guy. Yeah. Dalton was.
Yeah.
So it's the way things go in there. But,
you guys had Macho Row.
No, we had a squad. Down there. It's like going into a neighborhood. And you see that fenced-in yard. Enter at your beware of dogs. That's what it was like going down. You enter that clubhouse as a reporter. It says beware of Macho Row is what it says.
We're talking with former Phillies pitcher Tommy Greene. We go on the mound with him each and every Sunday. Tommy, one last question. We're talking about the pitching staff, and collectively, the whole pitching staff has a 2.90 ERA, and that includes guys that aren't even they've pitched but not on the roster anymore.
It's unbelievable, Billy. I know where you're heading.
Well, my question is, Caleb Kaufman, how important is this pitching coach? It's got to be a reflection of him. He's got to be doing a great job.
Well, a lot of times you need to stay out of the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, I look back, I go back to a team that was pretty good in its own right, and I knew the pitching coach. It was the Braves pitching coach, Leo Mazzoni, back in the day, when he had Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz, and Avery, and all those guys all on one staff. Hey, sometimes you just, Leo says, hey, I learn more from them.
Yeah, but Tommy, he's got guys like Hoffman, Alvarado, Matt Strom hasn't given up a run since opening day. I mean, guys that really weren't top-notch relievers before they got to the Phillies.
Well, the key, to me, the coaching, I've done a little bit of it. Obviously not at the big league level. But, your job, to me, I think, is, you got to get to know your guys, their personalities, what makes them tick. Obviously, their mechanics when they're throwing the ball well. You got to be able to picture that on the fly. And they got instant gratification now with all the technology, and they can do it on the bench.
Right.
We had to work on it in between the side and stuff like you talk about it, and if we get out of whack during the course of the game, there's a little thing going on. He's got to be able to pick up on that to help him. The catcher does a good job of himself too. JT can help.
Yeah.
But the key job to that pitching coach is knowing his guys, know what makes them tick a little bit, and their attitudes and their disposition a little bit. And one might be a little high strung than others. The others might be a little more laid back, like a Nola. Yeah. But bottom line, do they get fired up when they need to get fired up? And pitch with that aggression.
Well, they've been pitching great, and we're loving it. It's fun. This is so much fun this summer, and hopefully it continues throughout the year and into the World Series. Tommy Greene, we'll let you get back to the game. As always, we appreciate you, and have a great rest of your weekend, and let's go Phillies.
You got it, pal.